A math problem sat unsolved for 80 years.
Mathematicians spent careers on it.
An AI solved it, not assisted, solved.
And the person who called it a genuine milestone was one of the top math prize winners in the world.
The problem sits at the intersection of combinatorics and geometry. That's the study of how things can be arranged and the shapes those arrangements take. Mathematicians have known for 80 years that certain patterns should be unavoidable when numbers get large enough. Proving it is something else entirely.
And the people who tried weren't amateurs. These are the people who spend their lives thinking about exactly this kind of structure.
So, when an open AI model submitted a proof, not an approximation, not a near miss, a proof, the person who went on record about it was Tim Gowers, Fields Medal winner, one of the people whose entire career has been built on exactly this kind of mathematics.
And he didn't say it was close or promising or technically impressive for a machine. He said there is no doubt it's a genuine milestone.
That word is doing a lot here. A milestone isn't a compliment, it's a dividing line. The work done before this proof and the work done after it belong to different eras.
3 years ago, these systems couldn't reliably add large numbers. That's not rhetorical. They would fail on arithmetic a 10-year-old could do. And now, Fields Medal winners are reading their proofs.
The jump is so steep that it's hard to fit in your head. Usually when a technology improves, you can trace the curve. You can feel the progress happening. This feels less like a curve and more like a step function.
And the thing that makes mathematics the interesting test case here is that math has no ambiguity about correctness. A proof is right or it isn't. You can't hallucinate your way through it. The logical chain either holds or it collapses.
Which is exactly why people were skeptical that AI would get here at all. Language models predict the next word. That's the crude version of how they work. Number theory doesn't care about plausible next words. It cares about whether the argument is airtight.
So whatever is happening inside these models when they do this, it's not just pattern matching on the surface of the text. Something structurally different is going on.
And we don't really have a good account of what that is. The researchers who built the model don't have a complete account either.
Which puts us in a strange position. We have a system that just did something we thought required the deepest kind of human reasoning, and we're not entirely sure how it got there.
The harder question now is whether this was the ceiling or the floor. Math problems are one thing, but some puzzles have a body count. Your phone knows where you slept last night, which gym you went to, how long you sat in a parking lot. That data gets packaged up and sold, usually to advertisers trying to figure out which billboard you'll walk past. The Pentagon just confirmed that enemy forces are buying the exact same data to track American soldiers in active war zones.
Not hypothetically, not in a threat assessment about what could happen. Already happening.
And the thing is, the data itself doesn't know it's a military secret. A soldier's phone behaves exactly like anyone else's phone. It pings cell towers, connects to apps, runs background location services. That data flows into the same commercial brokers selling it to shoe companies and political campaigns.
There's an entire industry called data brokerage, middlemen who buy the raw streams of location data that apps collect and package it into profiles they sell to other buyers. Companies whose entire business model is acquiring that data from apps and reselling it to whoever will pay. There's very little regulation on who whoever can be. You can be a foreign intelligence service. You can be anyone with a credit card and an account.
The military has known this was a risk for years. After a fitness app called Strava published a global heat map of user activity in 2018, it accidentally traced the perimeters of classified bases because soldiers were running laps around them.
A warning and an official confirmation that it's actively being exploited are very different things. The warning was years ago. The confirmation just happened.
Because now it's on record, and once it's on record, the pressure builds on Congress, on the data brokers, on the app stores facilitating all of it. Someone has to decide whether location data is a commercial product or something closer to military intelligence, depending on whose phone it came from.
The harder question is whether you can even make that distinction after the data has already left the phone, because there's no recall. There's no delete button on a database in a country that doesn't recognize your subpoena. Once location becomes a product, it stays a product, whoever ends up holding it.
Gravitational waves are ripples in the fabric of space itself. When two black holes crash into each other, the collision sends out a shock wave that stretches and compresses space across billions of light years. We only learned to detect them at all in 2015. Now, astronomers have cataloged 390 of them.
To be clear about what 390 means, that's the running total ever recorded, not just from one recent observation window. The latest catalog added 161 new signals to get there. 390 separate black hole collisions, each one recorded.
And some of the black holes doing the colliding weren't born from dying stars. They were born from earlier collisions. You get two black holes that merge, and the thing they make becomes a black hole that merges again.
Generations of collisions stacked on top of each other.
Which shouldn't happen according to the older models. A black hole born from a collision gets kicked so hard by the force of the impact that it should fly out of its galaxy entirely. Gone, no second collision possible.
So something is holding them in place.
Something dense enough that the recoil doesn't matter. Maybe the disks of gas and material around supermassive black holes at galactic centers. Maybe star clusters packed tight enough to catch the thing before it escapes.
The universe apparently has more than one factory for building these objects, and we're only now seeing the output.
The researchers called it uncovering an ancient civilization because these merger chains are records. Each collision leaves a signature in the mass and spin of what comes out. And if you can read those signatures across 390 events, and spin here just means the direction and rate the black hole is rotating, the way a top spins, you start to see patterns that go back further than any single star's death.
The catalog we have is already rewriting stellar evolution models.
And the detectors are getting sharper. The next generation is expected to pick up not hundreds of events, but thousands per year, which means the catalog we just got is essentially a rough draft.
Which means there are merger chains in there we haven't read yet, generations of collisions that happened before any star in our galaxy was born. We don't know what we're going to find.
A paralyzed man in China just wrote his own name again, not with a pen held awkwardly, not with adaptive equipment, with a brain chip. China just approved the first invasive brain-computer interface cleared for real-world medical use, which means a surgeon implanted something in this man's skull and it worked well enough that regulators said other people can have it too. Neuralink has been doing trials. China just got there first, officially. And the Chinese government is funding this aggressively, which means the race isn't really between two companies anymore, it's between two countries deciding what brain implants look like for millions of patients. That's a different kind of competition.
There's a new way to get phished, and it runs through ChatGPT. If you ask ChatGPT to summarize a web page, which is a completely normal thing to do, a hidden snippet of code on that page can intercept the process. It can leak your IP address to an attacker silently, make a fake security alert appear inside your ChatGPT window, and flash a QR code designed to get you to scan it with your phone. The reason the QR code matters is that your phone doesn't go through your company's security filters, so the attacker just walked around your entire corporate security setup by routing through the AI you were using to be more productive. The attack surface keeps moving, and it moves wherever the tools move.
Europeans make up 38% of global stablecoin users. A stablecoin is a digital currency pegged to a real currency so it doesn't swing wildly in value the way Bitcoin does. Almost none of those European users are holding digital euros. They're holding digital dollars, privately issued, American-controlled digital dollars. The European Central Bank watched this happen and is now in a race to close that gap before it becomes permanent. Because if digital dollars become the default way Europeans move money around, the rules governing that money aren't set in Brussels or Frankfurt. They're set by whoever issued the token, which is probably a company in San Francisco. Europe might end up financially rewired to American private money without a single treaty being signed.
A reporter gave Google's new Gemini agent access to her Gmail, her calendar, her docs, and asked it to plan a birthday party. It came back with a 5-page itinerary, a venue-appropriate guest list of exactly 15 people, and apparently ranked her boyfriend somewhere uncomfortable in the invite priority. Which is funny until you sit with it. The AI didn't just follow instructions. It read her whole life, made inferences, and started sorting people. It decided who mattered based on email frequency, calendar overlap, something. She didn't ask it to do that, it just did. And the question isn't whether the boyfriend deserved it, it's who taught the AI what closeness looks like, and whether you'd agree with its answer if you saw the full ranking. See you tomorrow.
The world keeps moving whether we cover it or not.
Fortunately, we plan to cover it.
Most of it.
Most of it.
Brain chips, rogue data brokers, ancient black hole genealogy, the usual.
The usual. Singularity Pulse is for informational purposes only. Nothing here is financial, legal, or professional advice. Views expressed are our own.
I'm Knox. Every Saturday on Pulse Deep Dive, one story told in acts. This season, how AI happened, who really invented the internet, and going back to the moon 53 years later. New chapter every Saturday. Find it wherever you listen.
Origins is a different kind of show. Every Sunday, we investigate the forces that shape the modern world, the geography, the science, the commerce, the decisions made centuries ago that are still playing out today. Find it wherever you listen to this podcast.